1,
Right.
2, 3, and 4 at our bylaws committee meeting this Sunday. The language is as follows. Procedure for filling board vacancies shall be as follows. 1, as soon as a vacancy occurs, it shall be announced at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. 2, stakeholders interested in filling said vacancy shall fill out and submit an application and supporting documentation to the secretary no later than 7 days prior to the subsequent regularly scheduled board meeting. 3, the secretary shall determine the eligibility of the candidate. 4, at the subsequent regular scheduled board meeting, the board shall vote to fill the vacancy. That was a unanimous item with 4-0. I think Mr. Hop was out of the. I think Mr. Hop left before we finalized this language.
Yeah, I think yes.
But this was voted on unanimously by Jacob, Jeff, myself, and Paul.
Okay.
So,
So,
anyone have issue with these policies, with these procedures, discussion, comments?
comments? No
Comments?
All right, so my question is, item J should be what? Should it include all that language you just
Yeah.
read? And should it include this, or should it just, how should this work?
In addition to.
In addition, so we should amend that motion with this language,
In addition, completed.
since we've completed the recommendation for the
Alright.
procedure.
I'll be sending you all this, Mr.
Yeah, you can hyperlink it, so we can put it in the website and
Yeah,
whatever,
I know what
the language
hell it is.
that,
All right.
Jason provides and.
So I'll give it a whirl.
Code thingies and it does magical web thingies.
The VNNC to announce that there are presently 2 openings on the board for nonprofit representatives. Said openings to be filled pursuant to the procedure recommended by the bylaw committee at its, by the bylaw committee and then approved by the full board. Election of the 2 new board members will not take place unless and until such a recommendation and approval have been completed.
So the motion should be, let me see. The VNNC to announce that there are presently 2 openings at the board for nonprofit representatives. Said openings to be filled pursuant to the following procedure. 1, as soon as vacancy occurs, shall be announced at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. 2, stakeholders interested in filling said vacancy shall fill out and submit an application and supporting documentation to the secretary no later than 7 days prior to the subsequent regularly scheduled board meeting. 3, the secretary shall determine the eligibility of the candidates. I should probably have a parenthetical S in there, because we have multiple candidates.
You don't want multiple.
No?
No, because each one are going to be voted on individually.
Okay.
Therefore,
All right.
if you're going to create a standing rule, the standing rule has to be.
No parenthetical S, language as originally presented. At the subsequent regularly scheduled board meeting, the board shall vote to fill the vacancy. That,
Okay.
and so we've got the recommendation, so we can vote on the 2 board members. It all works, I think.
I think so too. Any further comment on that?
Nope.
You would first have to vote on the recommendation from the committee, then
Right.
you would vote on the wording here.
Okay.
All right, so Paul would have to,
Well, we can just put this all on the consent calendar, since you got unanimous consent.
all right, we haven't even voted on the consent calendar
We
yet.
need to vote, so we vote on the consent calendar, and then
We don't yet have a consent calendar,
Well,
but
I haven't said we can just impose a consent calendar.
You can't impose.
You can't impose?
we
No.
have to vote on it.
Okay, so we'll have to vote on creating a consent calendar, and if we create a consent calendar, all the stuff on the consent calendar will then will stay on the consent calendar. If we don't create a consent calendar, then we'll have to just add agenda item numbers for those.
Why can't we just create a consent calendar now? That's what I'm a little confused
All right,
about.
well, let's get through this first.
Well, this is what was submitted to your dad, independent of what was devised at the bylaws committee meeting 2 days ago. So,
So as far as what we just got through reading, any further comment about that? Okay, do I have a second for that?
Second.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
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 Okay, so that's that, and we'll circle back. I cannot get on this
I know.
All right, item K is the VNNC to require all committee chairmen to hold monthly meetings with their respective committees. Reports can be rendered monthly by the committee chairman at the next board meeting. The VNNC believes that this will give a meaningful role to the various committees and expedite general board meetings.
So, a couple of amendments. One, I would suggest getting out the sexist language of chairman and just replace it with chairs.
Chairs,
Mhm.
okay.
And two, I think that we should phrase it in such a way that all committees are required to meet quarterly but should meet monthly. No?
No,
Required to meet monthly?
absolutely.
All right.
I mean,
Require them to meet monthly.
if you've got something that, if you've got an issue that has to be, adjudicated by the entire board, and the board and that committee hasn't met, then you're screwed. If you're saying,
Yeah,
well,
probably
look,
just
we're giving you the option to meet quarterly. You shouldn't give them an option to meet quarterly. If a
Alright.
committee is a committee.
Agreed.
These are standing committees, not all committees, right? We're not saying the ad hocs.
Right.
Okay,
Have to meet
so
monthly if they don't want to.
standing committees. Okay, yeah, standing.
I mean, on the flip side, ad hocs could theoretically meet weekly if they wanted to.
Mm.
If they have a big project they want to break down into little chunks.
Anything else? I second that,
All right.
and I vote yes.
I vote yes, as amended.
Yes?
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to L, and then we can circle back to all the other things. L. L is my idea, I think. The VNNC to vote on,
Actually, it was George's.
okay, I'm happy to give George the credit. The VNNC to vote on whether to hire a transcription service to transcribe the minutes of the monthly general meeting. Such service would be as automated as possible, allowing the minutes to be posted on the VNNC website and otherwise as rapidly as possible. The VNNC believes that this would expedite the general meeting and otherwise eliminate much needless wasted time and effort. I was just gonna say first, I don't know exactly what the nuts and bolts of this is, but I know that this is done with depositions, with hearings, with a lot of things. That it's just automatically transcribed and it makes it a lot quicker. It's the 21st century. We're gonna have to explore how to go about it, but I think it'd be a good idea and it would save a lot of time with people, because we've had problems, and understandably so, with people writing notes and trying to get them together and trying to get them on the website and.
So my only concern is the word automated, because a lot of automated services, like speech recognition software, I mean, I'm a big fan of Dragon Dictate, I've been using it for years, but it does have a lot of errors, and when you do try and give it a long quote,
Yeah.
it throws a lot of nonsense in there.
Well,
So,
it said as automated as possible. I didn't
well,
say-
but I don't think the word automated is
Alright.
right. You know,
Okay.
I think, because also, I mean, I believe in employing humans whenever possible.
I just have two things. That seems to be more of a nitpick, but also my question is, does this eliminate the position of secretary or not?
No, definitely
What this
not.
does is it allows the secretary to focus on other jobs such as, distributing minutes, coordinating with committees,
Okay.
Well, that's-
publicizing.
But you're talking about the minutes.
We're talking about the minutes, but this gives us a check for the minutes. So, if this,
That's what you've elected a secretary for, to take minutes.
That's why I was confused about this.
Well, no, the secretary
there are a
can
lot of
do
neighborhood councils
many things.
that have secretaries that use note takers, in addition to having a secretary. It just allows the secretary to focus on, other functions or,
Right. I mean, for example, the secretary could take the website load off of, Mr. Della Cuesta, who has enough to do. He can do a lot of things rather than just rote note-taking.
Well, everything is recorded.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mr.
this
Hopkins
is
has a question.
duplication and triplication
Well, no,
of
I'm-
effort?
Well, if there's a way to get what we already have onto the website and so
The
forth.
website, it goes up on the website within 10 days.
Okay,
Most of the time, it goes up within a week.
all right. Mr. Hop,
About a year ago, I sent George several of the court reporting schools, in which I contacted him before I sent it to him, in which several of the students would be glad for free to participate on doing court reporting
Yeah.
during the meetings. and do it that way. He did zero follow through on that. So I don't know, this, as I read it, it talks about the minutes, not the actual meeting itself. If you want me to forward that on, again, that's fine.
Yeah, go ahead, I just have a question for Mr. Benjamin. It sounds like you're telling me there's a solution in search of a problem. If we already have all this stuff, then why have we had all this problem with transcribing the minutes and putting it on the website, and that's what I'm confused about.
It's simply put that the people that, the minutes should be taken at the meeting,
Yes,
and they should be concurrent to the video. The video is simply a verification
Yes.
of information. That's all it should be.
right,
So the video is always available.
right. And how long do we have to put the minutes on the website?
What do we do? Carino? A week? Whenever I
we
turn
get
it over,
whenever-
it goes up.
Usually when it's, given at the board, that's been happening for the last couple of months.
And you've been doing that?
Yeah,
Well, no, I don't do
Well,
the minutes,
my-
I just, whatever I receive,
whenever he gets the video from me, he puts it up.
yeah,
Oh, it puts a video up,
Yeah.
that video.
and that's sufficient?
No, actually, you should really have the minutes to be distributed to the entire, look, these things are time consuming as hell for me to make these videos.
Right.
I'm more than willing to turn this over to the next person who sticks up their hand.
Yeah,
All right? This is VNNC equipment. I don't wanna do it anymore.
And
right.
All right?
with
So-
that, sorry, with that being said, then wouldn't it be more, it makes sense to simply use these automation services for their minutes and notes and have secretary take over for these duties? Or that makes sense, that way everything works out at the end of the day?
You know, to me, you've got the verification of the video, and you use that as the reason for, or the ability to write the minutes.
Alright.
You just simply transcribe the video.
Okay.
And if you wanna turn that over to a service, terrific. But to my way of thinking, everybody's got a job. That's why you're elected to the executive board. To minimize what you're supposed to be doing is just undercutting the office. It's
I
simply
disagree with that
undercutting the
assessment
office.
personally.
Alright,
I'm
well,
just saying, I don't think that's quite an accurate thing to say.
Well,
alright.
I mean, the secretary's the secretary.
but here.